right, it's still Lagos Traffic Radio 96.1 FM, and it is the time for, of course, when you hear Sick Tune, of course, you know that it is Farm School again, and it is the Thursday edition of Farm School with African farmer Mogaji, right here on Lagos Traffic Radio 96.1 FM. And this morning, we will be talking about a very interesting topic, which is why agribusiness fail and how to avoid its pitfalls. So you want to, of course, stay back to learn everything that deals with agribusiness and know the intricacies, know why it fails and how to avoid its pitfalls after this break. All right, again, I say welcome to Farm School with African farmer Mogaji. My name is Berilolua Sheung Abiodun. Good morning. All right, so let's begin with the topic at hand, which is why agribusiness fail and how to avoid its pitfalls. First and foremost, I'd like to say Happy Easter in areas to African farmer Mogaji.
Thank you. Thank you.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I hope you're doing well.
Yeah, I'm doing well.
How was your Easter celebration?
It was short but productive. Yeah, very productive. I did a lot of work.
Okay.
It was productive work, so it was satisfying. You know, it's been a while since I did that kind of work. Deep work.
Deep work.
Yeah, deep work.
The cocoa it was productive.
Yeah, because the bills are going higher. Our commitments are plenty.
Yeah, plenty. That's very true. All right, so this morning we want to talk about agribusiness, why agribusiness fail, and how to avoid its pitfalls. And I remember the very first episode when we started Farm School, we spoke about agribusiness. You gave us an introduction, or you gave us more like a body on what agribusiness means. And now we want to look at how or why it fails, why agribusiness fails. What can when such individuals face this kind of situation, what can they do? And for those who are about to start, of course, how can they avoid this kind of pitfalls? That's what we want to talk about. So let's start with why agribusiness fails.
Yes. So before we start, I would I'll lay a foundation. And the foundation is premised on what one of my mentors, coach, and lecturers who just passed on this week, Dr. Ikichukwu Kelekume of the Lagos Business School. He was heading the agribusiness management school. Very passionate man. Now I know, his passing. He worked like, 24. He would use like 48 hours in 24 hours. I recall I boldly went to Lagos Business School years back, and I said I wanted to lecture. So they asked for my credentials, and I don't have a PhD. And they said, okay, you must be a participant and alum. And so I joined. And that's one of the biggest blessings in my career, meeting the man. He lectures with a lot of smile. He'll be smiling and be lecturing, but I took something away from his class and interacting with and keeping a close relationship with him. He never said no to anybody. He would always open the door to support and help. I went to his workplace many times, and it was different people to everybody. He was a good chameleon, so to speak. He had the shade to everybody, and many people. At some point in time, Dr. Kelekume was very instrumental, and he's still very instrumental, and we would keep him proud and keep the legacy going. I'd like to shout out to Rotimi, I call him Wale of AGMP, also of the Lagos Business School. That is the guy that everybody needs to pray to have around you, and Dr. Kelekume was fond of saying Nigeria's agribusiness has a lot of wicked problems. Wicked problems. And if there's any major thing I took out of being in Lagos Business School, going through the agribusiness management course, is that the business environment. That was one thing I took away, and I, dived deep into it, and that has opened me up to why a lot of things are happening in the country. I had a surface thinking about it, but today, so this topic I'm saying today, I want to dedicate to Dr. Ike Kelekume. And so may his soul rest in peace. And we will do more and make you proud. Yes, so the first reason why I believe agribusiness, not I believe, I know, standing among almost 3 decades, is what I call opportunity fever. Opportunity fever. And what is opportunity fever? So you hear now that, oh, Nigeria has this deficit. A few months ago, I did talk about some billions to be made and that we have deficit. Let's say we have 4 million metric tons of rice deficit. And because you hear that, and the billions I reeled out, and you now quickly rush into it, without understanding that not every opportunity is your opportunity. Okay, so people hear, I've seen this happen many times in Nigeria. There's a $500 billion, 500 billion naira cassava opportunity, and you see bank MDs, EDs, top professionals in other sector rush into it without understanding that there is a process, there are dynamics attached to it. One particular person, captain of industry, as in people who founded a company that the whole country celebrates, produced about 500 acres of cassava and allowed it to rot away. Because at harvesting, he discovered that the price of cassava chips on the international market, was cheaper than the cassava before you uprooted it. Okay, so if you uproot it and now add value, it's a loss. So he left it. And so not every opportunity is your opportunity. Not every opportunity that sounds good will be ideal for you, because you may check and find out that the cost implication, you're not wired for that kind of opportunity. So opportunity fever. And when you have fever, everything stops. There's nothing you can do again. You want to get rid of the fever. So understand that opportunity fever. In this season where almost everything is not available, when it comes to food, as far as the country is concerned, every food item, every farm produce is an opportunity. But the question is it your opportunity? But the value chain, you find your opportunity in the value chain. What do I mean? So production is a value chain. Marketing is a value chain. Processing is a value chain. Distribution is a value chain. You have opportunity in that value chain. So when you pick tomato, there's a tomato value chain, corn value chain, cassava value chain, but not production. So you have to find out what fits your wiring, the time available, your experience, and what you like. So opportunity fever. I'm going to run through a few today, and I hope I'll be able to exhaust it. There are about 10. Yeah. Maybe I'll release 7 and keep 3. Yeah. So people can come for training. Okay. Okay, so the next one I would talk about is, I call it die alone sickness.
Die alone sickness.
Yes, die alone sickness. And what's die alone sickness? Yeah, so we want, instead of collaborating, I found out, and I've been involved on various projects across, not, well, let me say, what's the space again? When you say Western region, West Africa, sorry, yeah, West Africa, yeah. And I found out that we like to do things alone. You want to own a farm, you want to own a processing plant, you want to do it alone, and so you want to hide it from others, and so you want to make all the money alone. It's one of the biggest recipe for failure. And I call it die alone because if you share it, you won't die alone. So let's assume you want to put ₦1 million into a transaction now. Instead of doing it alone, why don't you call 4 people who will bring in 250,000 each into the transaction? That way, you have saved 750. Observe how the business will work. Rub minds with 4 people with different backgrounds and exposure. That way, you are protecting what you have. To do it all alone, that's what I call die alone sickness. It kills a lot of people. I've been affected. Also, when I say opportunity fever, everything I'm talking about, I've gone through the hard way. I've learned through the hard way, and that's why I push this out in conversations that I have, so people understand that 2, 3, 4 good heads are better than one. When you've piloted, then you can gradually increase, but you have de-risked your project by bringing 3, 4 other people into the project. So that is the die alone sickness, and that's how to avoid it. So don't forget, the topic we're talking about is
why agribusiness fails and
how to avoid these pitfalls. So I would pick another one, the third, and I'm picking it in hierarchy, which is big farm syndrome.
Big farm
syndrome. By the way, I coined all these things.
Okay. Something I know.
Big farm syndrome. What is big farm syndrome? So you find people say that, cassava is, one plot of cassava will make you X amount of money. And you say, what if I have 3, 4, 5 times? And what does that do? When you want to run something big and you are not wired for it, okay, when a woman is pregnant and is giving birth to the first child, there's no experience. You can read internet for all you like. Your spouse prepare for it. But when the baby begins to cry, it's a different dynamic. You can learn online, but the reality is different. So until you go through the process, you should not do something big. Don't start big. Never start anything big in agric. Yes, there are issues in Nigeria. You are not the president. The president has taken their responsibility. So support the president by taking something small. It's only the president that can carry the problem of Nigeria. Okay? Outside that, every other person pick something small and grow to support the system. But you cannot do anything big. It's a huge recipe for failure because things can change. The cost of diesel may go up. Policy may change. Russia-Ukraine war may start. You have no influence over that. And all those things affect. So the smaller you start, the better. But small also is relative.
Okay.
For someone who can afford to put 300 million in a project and you're telling them start with 1 million, they won't listen. Okay? So small is relative. Okay. But make sure that in whatever you want to do, between your first 5 years, you're trying something new, small, and scaling.
All right, let's put a pause to that while we quickly go on a break for shipping position. All right, then it's still Lagos Traffic Radio at 6.1 FM, and let's quickly we'll just do a report for those around Odogun corridor. That's around Mount 12 axis. Currently, we have a very good movement from Odogun to Mount 12, which is appreciable. We also have it steady within the Ajelogo end. That's in and out of Ajelogo from Mount 12 underneath the bridge, quite appreciable. Ascending and descending Mount 12 down to Koshofe is good. Yano School is good. Return journey from Yano School back to Mount 12, excellent. And ascending and descending Mount 12 down to Odogun en route. En route to Ogulunto intersection, still brilliant for now. Ikorodu environs, which is within Odogun and Mount 12, is excellent in terms of movement, and for now we have no form of impediment. So please drive carefully and take it easy as you journey through. Remember to also use the emergency numbers, which are 767 or 112 and 122 within the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway. Now back to Africa from Mogaji. Remember, I know you're listening out there, and certainly you would have questions to ask Africa from Mogaji. So please put your calls through to ask your questions. Or maybe you want to clarify a particular issue pertaining to your agribusiness. Please put a call through using our studio lines, which are 0809 912 0777. That is 0809 912 0777 and 0915 387 7127. That is 0915 387 7127. All right, now over to you, Africa from Mogaji. Now you were talking about big farm
syndrome. Yeah, last week I did say I would share my LASMA and police story. Yes, and it just came back to me now. So I did this big farm syndrome. Then I like big things. Then I did 250 acres. Wow. Irrigation. I love irrigation, and I didn't jump into it. I'd had experience with that. My dad had, massive irrigation farm. So I did go to this government infrastructure. I think it was 2009 or 10. Some time ago. So we did the project, and it had an issue. There was no diesel in the country, and the oil corn dried up when it was bringing out cobs. So when it dries up, there's nothing to bring out. And that is human error. So even if you insure, that's human error. Okay, so policy. So for anybody out there, I'm laughing today, but
then
and I've seen a lot of these things happen. You can do everything you know how to do, and sometimes things can just go out of hand. So everything was bad. I couldn't even afford to buy gas, buy anything. So I came back home briefly, and all I had on me was not enough to buy this small gas, 12.5 kg. So I put it. And so CMS going to VI Ikoyi, there's this yellow box there. So one last man said I should come, and I drove in. There was a bit of traffic. I moved in, and the man went genuinely into another location. And so it was the police, two police women, and one police woman, and Lasma that saw me there in the yellow box. And so they were, what are you doing in yellow box? Can you see yellow box? Okay, open the door. As I opened, the boat came in, and then I knew I was in trouble. The money that was not enough to buy gas, and there was no gas at all. And my wife was already under pressure. And they got in, they said, okay, drive up. So I drove up going to like Ikoyi, and suddenly I busted into tears. I want someone giving to tears. I was like, my family is doing fine. It's this country. It's this. I just began to weep, and I was looking to the side to explain to them. And so she said, Oga, face front. Oga, face front. Oga, we have not said anything. Oga, just face front. So the two of them was, Oga, God will do it. God will do it. They were not counseling and begging me. Oga, because I was putting their lives in jeopardy now.
Certainly.
I was wearing suito with tie, trying to go and meet someone. Maybe I could pitch something. And the Oga, just park here now. On the bridge. They now parked me. They said, Oga, calm down. So they said, okay, just hold on. They came out of the car. They were like counseling me out of the car. Oga, we have not said anything. Allow us to talk. I was just crying. I was like, and so they counseled me and said, Oga, God will be with you. Please, don't put your wife, don't let your wife become a widow. And I could not even move. I parked there and I wept and wept and wept. Like no man's business. And every time I remember that, I wanted to put the life of the people in jeopardy. And genuinely, these things happen. But what I found out also is that when we have these challenges, there's nobody to talk to. Sometimes nobody will understand you. People will say, oh, you siphoned the money, blah, blah, blah. But sometimes these things happen. So the big farm syndrome, from that experience, if I want to do a 500-acre farm, I will now break it into like 100 every 2 weeks and plan so that everything will not be open to challenge at the same time. But sometimes you see the opportunity. You see that, oh, okay, there's a need for like 20,000 football field, and you have 1,000, and you can cultivate the 1,000 and you go ahead with it. There's that big farm syndrome that you need to pay attention to. That year I took 3 million naira. I was running around trying to get 33,000 liters of diesel, and I could not get it. So sometimes I say money is the least resource you need to succeed in agribusiness. Ujutiri, eyes have seen. So let me move to the next one. I call it Google farming.
Google farming.
Google farming. What is Google farming? Yes, Google farming. Oh, a majority of Nigerians are experts at Google farming. So first thing, how can I make money from maize in rainy season? Google will just give you a lot of things. You now read it and now tell you stories of people who are doing social media stories, who have packaged the beginning, they never show you the end. Okay, you now read, and also genuinely they are good details, but they are not Nigerian details. And even if it's Nigerian details, it may be Southwest details, not East, not Northwest. Okay, and what you see is they now read. So when they even come to you as an expert and ask you, and you're guiding them, they've even paid. They now say, I went to Ogbonosho and I saw General Something's farm. This is how they did it. You now add that knowledge to what the expert is advising you. And the expert will not know that you've deviated slightly from the course. And so it will now be giving you advice, thinking that you are still following plan, but you've added to it. At the end of the day, it is, when I was in Form 1, my business studies teacher would sing a song to us. and I'll interpret in English. Kilonje liability, gongo gbese. Lonje liability. I said, what is liability? Is massive debts. That is what is called liability. So if you're taking advice from 3 people at the same time, and you don't let them know that you are adding 3 sources, your stew may be too salty. Okay, so please pay attention to Google farming. Everything you see on Google is good, but may not be applicable to your location. There might just be some information you need to pay attention to. This is very crucial. I believe that's the 4th one, which I call calculator farming.
Calculator farming.
Calculator farming. What is calculator farming? I have seen a video. This smile is smile of tears that turn to experience. There's a saying that experience is not what happened to you. Experience is what you do with what happened to you. That's why I come on this program, to try and provide information so that people don't recycle our mistakes. Am I still making mistakes? Yes. Is it costly? Yes. Yes, because things are changing. We don't have everything static, but we can avoid some. You know, the kind of mistakes we make now is like over-sabi mistake. Over-sabi mistake happened to us. But yeah, there are challenges and they are real. And so for somebody out there who's like, I'm giving up, I'm tired, maybe next week I will share, I think I will talk on agribusiness adversities and how to convert to opportunities. I've converted a few. You know, like I said, I've been privileged to be detained a few times on this journey, and I've leveraged the experience to help many. So, and I use the word privilege because I'm using the experience to help people. The experience that was not palatable, you know, I've been able to help many and many people. So whatever happens to you may not be for you. It may be for somebody you will go through, that you will meet. So it's very crucial. So calculator farming. Calculator farming is, there are 55,000 plants of corn in an hectare. That's 2.5 acres, 15 plots. What if I have just 30 football fields with this calculation? They're like, what's a bus express? I have blown. And you just go and do the project. That is one of the biggest recipes for failures. Because you make the money on calculator, not in reality. It takes more to deliver in reality. Oh, like I've said, tomatoes may be, especially the heat wave that we've had in the last 4 weeks. I've not heard anybody interpret that heat waves to meaning that tomatoes flower were bought. When it aborts, that's not tomato. For chicken, they won't be able to lay. Okay? So when they don't lay, they don't eat. When they don't lay, it is crisis. So, you know, the owners of those farms are having issues. So when it is corn, pollination may be affected. So this last 4 weeks of heat, the harvest of the heat, we're about to see it May, June. You know, I did say that a basket of tomatoes is projected. It may and may not be 80,000. With this heat, it's likely to hit that now because it naturally affects everything. And before anybody says, oh, it's irrigation, we need to do irrigation. It's not irrigation, it's climate change. The whole world is facing it. So don't go and say, it's governor this that is not doing it, or it's president this that is not performing. It's climate change. Watch your CNN and co. You will see again for the 3rd time in 3 years, Europe again will experience another heat wave May, June. Okay? They've been stranded for 2 good years, for 2 months. This is going to add to it, but it's an opportunity for us all to leverage. And also, fortunately, NIMET has also brought out some predictions, but we wish it came out earlier, you know, to say that there will be weather variations. So you need to know how to manage it. So you calculator farming. This is the year not to use calculator to farm, and that's why you can avoid it by doing avoiding the big farm syndrome. So everything is interwoven. So let me talk on what I call shiny object syndrome.
Shining object syndrome.
Shiny object. You know, they say the grass is always greener on the other side. What does that mean? It affects people who see, okay, so this is another one of my quotes. Opportunity is the biggest distraction for an agric investor that wants to make money. Opportunities. Because you now see various opportunities, you start one, so you will hear, I'm into corn. And after some time, I have a swampy area, you do fish. After some time, you say, there's poultry, let me do poultry, because the cash flow is huge. You never complete one to a point where you can say, yes, we've mastered it. Anything you start, focus for 3 years. Don't change. Even if it does not work, you learn from it and adjust it to something close by. So the shiny object syndrome is you have many things that has not progressed. Many projects in agri, and that's huge. You now say, there's logistics problem in my area, I've heard about it. You have money to buy truck, you buy truck. You add logistics to fish farm that is not working, to irrigation that is not working, to poultry that is not giving cash flow. That is shiny object syndrome. Now, this is very crucial. I call it village hero trap.
Village hero.
Village hero trap.
Wow.
What is village hero trap? Village hero trap is, I come my locality, I want to help them. They don't have tomato. Or I need a farm to employ as many people as as possible. So I will say to you, commission and passion, they are two different things. What are you commissioned to do? What are you passionate about? There's a man in old time who was instructed to go, let's say, after people in Surulere and work with people in Surulere. But yes, always is the lucky people. And focus on the lucky, they will beat him. Not value his knowledge. And he will come back to Surulere and get results in Surulere. And after he gets a little result and he feels comfortable, he will head back to where they didn't send him. Okay? So that's Apostle Paul. Now, so bottom line is village heroes. I've not seen, if you put 100 down, I've not seen 97 succeed going to set up back home where they are, because there's a lot of entitlement that is attached to it. So village hero trap, there are one or two, and those one or two have tapped into farming by revelation to stay in place. And I like to say this, you see, because we need to pay attention to the fact that people don't talk about, or we're not privileged to hear the behind the story. There's a massive poultry edifice. If you are going to Lagos to Ibadan, just by the right, approaching Ogun State, that edifice, there was a party, I think 2010, 11, all staff, Christian or Muslims, they fast every Thursday, I believe it was Thursday, but once a week, they are fasting. And they break at the same time, fasting and praying for the company, because that's their village. So when we see that massive result, understand that it's not technical alone. It's not knowledge. It's farming by revelation. They added the spirituality. And so when you find both major religions focus as one with a common goal, you get results. Except you add farming by revelation, which is the spiritual component to what you do. Please don't go and become a village hero. It's a trap. You can go to the next village that is not yours, that you don't come from. It's very crucial. Nigerians will always, the labor, village labor, they will always be open more to foreigners. If you see an Indian or Lebanese come, they'll be saying, yes, sir, yes, sir, yes, sir, yes, sir, yes, sir. Let a Nigerian take the position, they'll just be flouting all the rules. Okay, so please pay attention to the village hero trap. It's a trap. It siphons money, it drains you. An agribusiness is such that you may spend all the money and not be able to recover 1%. That is it. Because when the tractor plows the land, it's diesel. You pay for the driver, you pay for the land, you pay for fertilizer, they've used it, you pay for chemical, they've used it, and something now happens. Everything is gone. Sometimes even with insurance. Okay? So there are clauses that may affect things. So please don't say I said insurance is not working. Insurance is working. Insurance is working. Okay. So, but there are some clauses that may not, that do this is 1 + 1 is 2. So if you're 1, if you don't do the 1, if you add 1 to it, it may not be 2. So let's pay attention to that.
All right. Okay, let's quickly go again for another commercial updates. All right, for those around Ajasa Command axis, do not forget presently Ishafun Road in North Megida, your bore is good. However, it gets slow at the intersection due to alternation. Also, we have Uluwaga, Mundi, and Church roundabout building up already due to alternation. Adefemi Ojudu is much better, although building up as well due to alternation, but traffic managers are there. Of course, doing the needful. Command Secondary School is also set to be a bit busy because of influx. Okay, but we have traffic managers doing the needful. If you also are moving into Agbilikale, we have it steady there. Ekoro is good, however, slow at the alternation point. The outbound journey of Abliegba, quite appreciable, but quite slow and said to be moving traffic. Jubilee Bridge is also slow, but a moving one. And the return journey from Jubilee Bridge back to Sheffield Road is much better. If you also are applying Mount 12, remember Mount 12 axis is so fantastic from Odogun all the way down to Mount 12. And of course, ascending and descending Mount 12 down to Yano School, very good as well. Return journey is good with no impediment. So please drive carefully and stay safe. All right, remember, it's still Farm School right here on Lagos Traffic Radio 96.1 FM. And just in case you still want to call in, please, you're very, 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 very free to do that. We still have about 10 more minutes to go, so you can still put your call through by using 0809-912-0777. Please put your call through, a voice call through, using 0915-387-7127 or 0915-387-7127 or 0809-912-0777. All right, so back to you.
Yeah, so let me say this. Why I encourage people calling live to the studio is answering your question may help a lot of people. Yeah. Okay, because what we found out now is we get a lot of calls after the program.
Oh, wow.
Okay, a lot of calls, which is good. Mm-hmm. But the essence of this program is to be able to help a few people at the same time. So you help us achieve this objective if you call in and ask a question. And that will be good, because if you're asking after, don't forget that I need to pay my school fees and other bills. Mm-hmm. So if I'm talking to you about consulting, advisory, you know that okay, you didn't take advantage of the free opportunity, and understanding that when we come to the studio, you block out the time. Yeah. When you need to get me outside, it may be premium fees. And actually premium fees because the experience is also premium. Okay, so I'll touch this before we go, and I'll say something. This is huge. This is what I call market amputation.
Market amputation.
Market amputation. This is where a lot of people, mix things up. That there's a need, I must meet the need. And you grow. I saw on social media one time, one guy planted cucumbers. He had stacked about 200 and something cucumbers. The cucumbers, really do, and said, it's going to blow in the market today. And I could not respond that you're going to cry back from the market. Why? The market does not accept the variety of the cucumber. Yeah. Mm. The variety of the cucumber is like whitish. Okay. So if you have planted that type of cucumber too, except there's scarcity in the market, any cucumber that is mostly white and not dark green commands lower pricing. Mm. So it was happy, but those varieties will perform exceptionally. Too much rain, too much sun, drought, it goes. But then when you get to the market will first buy all the green. And when there's not enough, they come to you. And the guy did not come back to tell us on social media what happened. Market amputation. Because there's a need does not mean the supply wants it. How does the market want it is the most important thing. Not even if the market wants it. How? So many people will push too many. When I was pushing a lot of sweet corn 2020, 2021, a lot. Many people did not know that I had created a market I had a program that I fed about 2,000 people with 5 cobs of corn each, who became distributors. So when I was pushing large commercial corn, 4 buses per weekend, people just felt, oh, sweet corn is selling. So many people went to plant. It was when they now discovered that there's no market. And I was crashing the price because I want more people to be able to consume so we can grow more. Okay, so market amputation. They will now say, people in mile 12, they are demons, they are wicked. They are not wicked. They are there to make money. But when you plant the wrong thing, the market will amputate it. Or when you don't know that this is the period when it comes in the north, or when you are not abreast with current data to know that, the governor in this state is heavily promoting. One former president of this country went to produce watermelon in a year that normally we would make like 180,000 per 18 passenger bus load, and I understand they did about 300,000 hectares. That's about 700,000 acres, and so it was coming out when ours too was coming out. And so we sold each bus for 25,000. The transportation was 17,000. Okay, the people that harvested it was 5,000. So at the end of the day, it was nothing. So across Southwest, we left you to rot. So that helped me understand business environment, and I began to study every state of the North. I get frequent reports on how things run. Now, I want to talk about, I'm considering what I would want you to give me this feedback. The agri sector in Nigeria has been affected, by insurgency, high cost of input, lack of access to funds, and a lot of things. And that's why we have food insecurity challenges. Now, with getting grants, using grants helps a lot. And, a couple of people approached me. 3 weeks ago, I coached some people, got some good grants. Okay. Last year, 5 people got $12,000 grants, each. This year, somebody I recommended, did reach out to say they just got $1 million. This is a loan payable in a few years with 5% flat. So I'm pleased if you can give me a feedback if you'll be interested in knowing how to access grant. I'm considering maybe I'll put a training out. You can reach out to 0809 7222. 0809 7222. You can send an SMS, or WhatsApp to that line, but let me know so next week I can talk more on it.
All right. Okay. And again, we want to say a big thank you to Africa Farmer Mogaji for the insights, the revelations given. Thank you so much. Well, till we come again your way, that's till next week, Thursday at 10:15 a.m. It's a bye-bye for now. Please stay safe, love your neighbors yourself, and remember also to be good. A million thanks goes to my producer, Dele Agadomo. Thank you very much. And to our executive producer, Tayo Akonli. Thank you as well. To the DDP of Programs Department, Victor